All right, Chiefs Kingdom, here we are, another week, another stressful, painful, what are we even doing type of game. So Kansas City falls to the Houston Texans in week 14. And listen, I'm not even mad in the loud way anymore. I'm just tired. I'm tired of the same mistakes. I'm tired of saying we should have won that game. I'm tired of us relying on Mahomes' magic to bail out everyone else. But we're going to talk about it. Where there were bright spots, so I want to talk about that. And there were players who showed up. And then there were moments where this team looked like the Chiefs of modern times that we know and are very familiar with. But in the end, we made too many mistakes yet again, and it cost us another winnable football game in a season full of winnable football games, which is so bizarre for us. Weird games only, right? Now, the defense was pretty outstanding. Let's start with this because they did do their job. Spag's unit held Houston to long, grinding drives, but tightened up when it mattered. The pass rush kept leaning on the Texans' front. It wasn't a dominant sack performance, but there was constant pressure. The run defense was pretty stout, forcing Houston into second and long and third and long situations. And the secondary actually held up a lot better than expected considering the youth and the injuries. Honestly, the defense gave us many chances to take control of this game. The defense was physical, disciplined, and created opportunities, and they really deserved the win in this Sunday night game. So the defense wasn't necessarily the problem here, and they haven't been the problem consistently all year. They've had moments where they could have stepped up a little bit more, but the defense was not the problem here in this game. Other standout here is Patrick Mahomes. Y'all, he had a pretty good game. He was outstanding, but here's the thing. We can't rely on him to do it all alone. He was pretty good in the things that we needed. He looked like the MVP version of himself with slinging it all, but he just can't do it alone. The support around him wasn't there. He didn't lose this game for us. He kept us alive in this game. And honestly, it really shouldn't be normal for him to play this well and we still walk away with a loss. I know there were three interceptions, three turnovers on account of Patrick, and there were a couple of balls that were overthrown. We'll talk about that. So, jumping into the mistakes, the drops, the self sabotage here, this is where it gets really painful. We made too many mistakes to win. Okay. Dropped passes, several dropped passes in very key critical moments that were just drive killers, momentum killers, right? So the drops, the failed conversions, the timing was disrupted, and momentum was lost in all of these moments. And y'all know exactly who I'm talking about here. But Travis Kelce, he wasn't targeted very often. And when he was targeted, there were, oh my goodness, one of his drops that led to an interception, which was a brutal swing in this game. Rashi Rice also had a drop. Kareem Hunt had a pass that was just a little bit off. So it kind of like hit him in his face mask and then he couldn't catch it. And then, of course, there was the end zone situation as well, where we should have had that touchdown, but we just couldn't secure the ball, couldn't make that catch. And these are situations, these games for us these last few weeks have been like playoff games. They needed to be treated that way. And I don't know if they were. In a playoff scenario, in a playoff situation, I feel that we would have taken advantage and caught these balls. Maybe we wouldn't have in this scenario in this year, but they were situations where those balls should have been caught, should not have been dropped, should not have been missed whatsoever. Also, penalties. Penalties at the worst possible moments. There are never really convenient penalties, in my opinion, but first downs were wiped out, drive momentum was lost, struggling offense was put behind the chains. The turnovers and near turnovers, y'all, even when we hold onto the ball, we flirt with disaster way too often. And then, of course, missed assignments, especially on the offensive line. I know that we were working with backups and backups due to injuries. Wanye Morris was taken out in the very first play of the game. Issa Pole got his opportunity to shine, and he did a pretty good job considering he's a rookie and had his first NFL start. And he had one penalty, I believe, later in the game in the fourth quarter. So I feel like considering the offensive line and what we had to work with and the depth at which we had to work with, there were misassignments. Some pressures were instant, but Mahomes didn't really have a chance in this game. So the Chiefs didn't lose because of lack of talent in this game. We lost because of lack of discipline and execution. This is becoming the theme for this season. I just can't even, y'all. I'm not ready to not continue talking about winning football games and moving forward. I'm not ready for that. But I want to be very realistic about this too, because those 3 interceptions, that is a killer stat. For a quarterback of Patrick's caliber and for as well as he played last night, it's a disaster in a must win game. The completion rate then, 42.4% was the completion rate. And that's unacceptable for our offense. And it's likely Mahomes' worst performance in quite some time. And the time of possession, y'all, in this game, the Texans controlled the ball slightly more, which also meant they got more rest, they had more rhythm, and more chances to punch it in. And then, of course, the penalties and self-inflicted mistakes that we kind of touched on already. If even if the yardage wasn't insane, 5 penalties on our side versus 8 on theirs shows a sloppy night, but the mistakes we made were more costly given turnovers. All right, so y'all, stats from this game, that final score from the score box, the Chiefs 10, the Texans 20. And the time of possession, take a look at this, 28 minutes and 2 seconds, Chiefs ball to the Texans 31 minutes and 58 seconds. That's fairly close. Total net yards, 274 for the Chiefs, 268 for the Texans. Again, fairly close. Penalty yards, we had 5 penalties for 20 yards, and the Texans had 8 penalties for 59 yards. Okay. And then Patrick Mahomes passing 14 of 33. Not a great night for him for 160 yards, 3 interceptions, no touchdowns, no passing touchdowns. Okay. So there's that. And then turnover, 3 interceptions. And then third down conversions. Ooh, not that great. We really struggled to sustain drives. I don't even want to get into that. So, okay. Y'all, here's what I want to talk about this loss and what this means for the rest of the season. Because this loss hurts, and it hurts bad because it wasn't just a game, it was the game. A chance to get above 500, a chance to compete for a wild card spot, not just on the outside looking in, a chance to stop the collapse, a chance to build momentum. All of these things. Instead, we are sitting at, come on, all the teenagers here. We're sitting at 6-7 in December, and we're officially fighting for our playoff lives now. Let this sink in, though, in terms of the AFC West, for the first time in a decade, 10 years, we will not be the champions in the AFC West. Let that sink in. The first time in a full decade that the AFC West will not run through Kansas City. That divisional crown that felt like a birthright to us Kansas Cityans is gone. Mathematically, emotionally, realistically, however you look at it, it's gone. And it doesn't mean that the dynasty is dead, which I have seen in a bunch of places, y'all. It just means that the era of we can coast and still win in the division, that's over. All right. So what this means at 6-7 with this loss is that the margin for error no longer exists. 1 or 2 more bad games and we are officially done. Some might say that we are pretty done right now, but we are officially done if we lose another game. And with 3 interceptions from Patrick in this game, the confidence is shaken, especially for a quarterback who's known for his competitive toughness. And that changes how defenses play us as well. Now, the fact that we were able to move the ball, but we couldn't finish drives, that's a coaching and execution issue. It's not just about injuries or bad luck. It is a coaching and execution thing. Now, for playoffs, we need help. We need wins, and we need there to be chaos everywhere else in the AFC to give us a long shot at the possibility of playoffs. It's not completely mathematically dead because we've seen crazy things happen, y'all. So it's possible, but we really need things to work in our favor. Now, let's talk about coaching accountability, okay? So Matt Nagy, the OC, I'm sorry. I have said this here and there all season long, and I don't like to talk about people and their jobs, but this offense has no identity. There's no rhythm. There's no creativity. We don't make adjustments. There's nothing to build on from week to week, and Matt Nagy should not be calling plays, period. Okay? There's always been a lot of talk about who calls the plays. Is it Andy Reid? Is it Matt Nagy? Well, Matt Nagy is the OC, so I'm going to say that he has some control over this, and he should not be calling plays, period. Okay? Our wide receivers coach, please step up. We constantly struggle with drops, spacing, mechanics, confidence, route depth, and that's just in coaching. Our wide receiver room needs a reset. Coming into this season thinking, oh, we have weapon after weapon after weapon. Yeah, we still can't do anything with that. So that tells me that is a coaching, is it not? Okay, Coach Reed. We love Big Red. We love Andy. We absolutely does. We absolutely do. He doesn't need to get fired. My goodness, by all means, absolutely not. But he does need to delegate and he does need to modernize. Okay. So we need to get new offensive minds in the building. We need to stop being loyal to ineffective coaches. Yeah. So can we also commit to the run game while I'm talking about stuff and putting this out there? Yeah, can we commit to the run game? All right. So can we still make the playoffs? Technically, yes. Realistically, the lights are getting turned off really soon. We need to win out or finish 9-8 with specific help. The Texans loss would put us at a this Texans loss puts us as at a massive disadvantage in the wild card race. Okay, so that's what I mean by we need specific help. The margin of error is now zero. I've been saying it's been very, very slim for a couple of weeks now, but now it is at zero. It might be negative at this point. We cannot afford another collapse, another drop, another mental error. And if the Chiefs somehow rally and fix the details and get healthy, they can sneak in. But you know what? If we do sneak in, I feel like I would still be devastated and quietly tired of us playing the way that we have been playing. This team is tired, and I don't know if they just need a break, but this team is tired. And if they keep playing like this, our team will be watching playoffs January, February from the couch or Cancun as the joke runs. So, Chiefs Kingdom, breathe. Me too. Reminder to self here. Let's vent in the comments if you must. Tell me who you blame, what frustrated you the most, and whether you still believe we can salvage any part of this season. Can we go out with some glimmers of light, glimmers of hope? Because even though this team is beat up, flawed, and inconsistent, this team will always go down fighting. And so do we as Chiefs Kingdom. All right. So, yes, I'm tired. I'm disappointed, but I still love my team. So, as always, go Chiefs, and don't forget to like, subscribe, hit that bell so you don't miss out on all the thoughts from week to week. And as we go into postseason, whenever that'll be here, hopefully not too soon.